And welcome to the show, the AMC Livecast. You got me, Mike, the Scale Model Outlaw, and my awesome co-host,
Jason from KRD. How's everybody doing tonight?
Hope all is well in the chat. Hello, everybody in the chat. We are super blessed today. We have an awesome guest, Mr. BG from BG's Model Shop, Model Works. I'll get it right eventually. Where you at, Mr. BG? There he is. Hey,
Go on,
welcome
BG.
to the show.
What's up, fellas?
Another day in paradise, just down here, getting my hair blown dry in this hurricane.
Yeah, you're having your hair blown dry. That's a good one.
Well, welcome to the show, my friend. We been excited about having you on here. Many of us look up to you, and we love your videos, and of course your podcast with Jason and Chuck, and even Matt. I'm going to start the show off with right after you and I talked today on the Discord, and right after we got off of there, I went to another Discord and saw a mutual friend of ours. And he wanted me to relay a message, and I hope to God that you know what it means. He told me to tell you that he's very, very disappointed with you. Do you know what that means? Ooh. It's Rob Riz is who I'm talking about.
Oh, it is Rob? Okay, it couldn't be my mom.
Right. He wouldn't give me any details. He just told me to tell you that.
Okay. I'm glad to know that I'm keeping that at a nice level right there.
I thought it was some sort of an inside joke. He made it sound like it's an inside joke. So I told him, I said, if he doesn't know what you're talking about, expect an email, because he'd be like, what did I do to you?
I got to check that show out.
Oh, you guys, I think you will enjoy that podcast. They are golden.
They're on Spotify as well?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm up.
So talking about the podcast, let's go to your channel first. You want to give us some history on your channel? What inspired you? What got you going? Some of the ups, the downs. Let's talk about you and your channel.
Sure. Okay. Well, first the Earth cooled. No, we'll skip ahead a little bit. So
first they invented the wheel, and then
they invented the wheel, and then they had the internet, and then honestly, I started YouTube by looking for tips and tricks on how to do certain things with, I don't remember what it was. I was building a car. I think I was building the Gremlin or something like that. And I was looking for a couple of tips or tricks on how to do some things. And I just started typing in model car tips, type of thing. And then these videos start popping up of guys like Fast Jimmy from back in the day, Fast Jimmy, Paul Turley, the early days of HPI Guy, and this is how far back it was. HPI Guy had 5,000 subscribers, right?
Wow.
And I'm like, dang, son, wow, this guy is, the king, right? But Little Joe, all these videos are popping up. So I'm watching all these videos, and then I'm like realizing little by little, I can actually comment on these videos, and some of these guys will reply. And I'm like, how cool is that, right? Okay, hey, love your work. Thumbs up. Ooh, that felt good,
Right.
And then I thought, I was telling Linda, Mrs. BG, about this, and she was like, well, Colin, our at the time 10-year-old nephew, she's like, Colin has a YouTube channel. I'm sure it's not that hard. If you need any pointers, you can ask him. I'm like, I'm not asking a 10-year-old kid how to do YouTube. A week later, I'm like, hey, Colin, how do you upload a video? But honestly, though, I wanted to get to know some of these guys because Fred Henry, Charlie Mack, Papa Dan, there's a whole lot of folks, and I'm not going to be able to name them all, but all of those guys were folks I looked up to, and I thought these guys are just cool. And it was between model clubs at the time. I hadn't joined anything local here, so I thought, let's join YouTube and see how that goes. And then I started watching Fred's live streams and stuff, and I created my own channel to just put out some content so I could get known by these guys, and then hopefully get welcomed into the community. Mm-hmm. And I remember my very first subscriber, and I blame him for everything, and that was Rambler69.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Tom.
Yeah.
So, I mean, having him as my first subscriber and then kind of passing the word about, hey, go check this guy out. I'm not sure what he was said behind closed doors, whether it was like, check out what he's doing, or, oh my God, check this guy out, right? Guy's making me look better every day. So, come full circle, just last year, we were at the Acme show, and I got to sit next to old Tom while we were doing an interview with Fred, the 10 questions thing. And I'm like, I'm sitting across the table from my buddy Fred, and I'm sitting next to my buddy Tom, and a couple other good friends are sitting on the table. And I got goosebumps right now just thinking about how YouTube created all of that for me and everybody else that's involved in it too, right? So that's really a powerful thing. So it can be kind of overwhelming when you sit and think about where this is taking us. But to get to digress, yeah, just wanted to make friends out there in the community and get known, and then do hangouts and stuff like that. And it was, I mean, 7 years ago. It was a lot of fun. It still is fun, but this was like the wild, wild west time of the YouTube model car community. And you could say and do all kinds of stuff online on videos and stuff. I mean, if you go back and search my video library from my early days, I say stuff like, what? Nobody's going to watch this crap. Oh, sorry, that's somebody else. Nobody's going to watch this stuff.
Who's phrasing?
No. I think that's, yeah, that's a Chunk Failure, I think his name is.
That's him, Chunk Failure. I love it. I love it.
So my phone should ring here any second. But
well, you know he's not watching this crap.
No, he's getting ready for a hunt or something, I think.
I'm sure he is. I can relate. I mean, we haven't met personally, but we've spent a lot of time back and forth. But I did get the pleasure to very same story as yours. Talked to Jason online, Jason Hanscom online, was able to go up and meet him, Sarge, Jeff Elliott. I was blessed to be able to take a trip that I wanted to take anyway, and those guys were in the vicinity to meet them. Same way going to JaxCon. That's actually where I met my first people that I was looked up to: Fred Henry, Old Tom, Brian Burwell, Rick, Zink, Papa Z. There's so many like you. I can't remember them all, but what a great way. Well, the community is so awesome and so open, and they just accept everybody, even an old crappy builder like me. And they let us in. And they try to give us advice and help us get better. So yeah, what a great community. And you have been one of those for me. You were one of the first ones that I found. I loved your videos. I thought they were very informative and entertaining. So we are, again, not blowing smoke up your butt, but we're just so blessed to have you on here.
Well, thank you so much. It's I feel honored to be here. As a matter of fact,
I blame Jason. Jason Hanscom is what led me to your channel too.
Oh yeah, you can blame him. He's got big shoulders. He'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, it really all comes down to Jason for me. I mean, that was the videos that kept popping up, and then that's how I ran across yours. Then Mark Batson and Luca. I mean, it just snowballed. Of course, Matthew from Model Car Videos, and that's what lured me in. And of course, it was all the USAC build at that time, the Roadrunner. So I thought, man, I'm missing out here. So,
and then you say it snowballs, right? Because now you're subscribed to 10 channels, and then 50, and now 400. Yeah. It's like 500 something channels I'm subscribed to now.
Yeah, I haven't even.
The content is just blown away.
Yeah, I feel the same way. You start meeting this one, and that's where we run into the not being able to respond to everybody and hope they don't get upset. But I tried to sub everybody that subs me, and especially somebody that's putting out content. I want to try to support them the best we can, but we kind of dig ourselves a hole that it's hard to get out of or fill in, trying to keep up with everybody. And hopefully they understand that they don't get upset with you, but things happen. But so you have done some traveling and meeting people.
Yes, we have. As a matter of fact, to illuminate this point, when we were really getting heavy into doing YouTube videos and watching everybody else's content and stuff, we went on vacation for a week, and I thought I'll just start piling stuff into my save for later watch list. And here it is, like 4 years later. I'm still watching that backlog of stuff. I got 1,500 videos to watch in my backlog.
Yeah.
So everybody out there, I'll get to it eventually. I'm sorry, I'm working on it as best I can. But yeah, great content out there. So please keep it up. Okay. But yeah, traveling. We were really blessed with the fact that Mrs. BG, through her work, was requested to be the instructor for the new software that was being rolled out for the company she's working at. Now, she's not a software engineer, but she's what they call a super user, somebody who, I think they created this term for her, right? Somebody who uses the software and then calls the IT department and goes, "Hey, Jim, this is Linda. Yeah, this sucks. Fix it like this. This is what we need."
Kind of like a tester then.
Yeah, oh yeah, damn near. But so they wanted to send her to North Carolina to train the team there for that rollout. So she took me along as her emotional support human, and we went out there. And her boss was like, "You want to take your husband on this trip? What's he gonna do?" And my wife's like, "You throw a dart at a map of the United States, my husband's gonna know somebody within 100 miles of where that dart lands." And he's like, "Why?" She's like, "Part of the YouTube model community." He goes, "That's a thing?" And she's like, "Oh, you don't know."
Yeah.
So yeah, so we went there and tried to hook up with Mark Batson, but things kind of got out of hand because there was some emergencies back home that he had to focus on and take care of. Completely understandable, but because we were at that side of the country, that time of year, we were able to just hop a flight when she was done with all of herself, hop a flight up to New Jersey and go pop in on the NNL East show. And that's where I got to meet Jason in person. I got to meet Tim Ryan, who's also a very close friend too. And it was really special to be able to travel to that, because that was definitely a bucket list show for me, right? And hopefully we get a chance to get back there again and see some more folks and do some more things. But if I never get a chance to go do it again, at least we had that chance.
Right.
Now your story of meeting Jason, I think you need to tell that. That is pretty funny.
Well, there were no turtles involved. Okay.
Well, that's a good thing. Thank goodness. No outhouses, I hope.
But we had popped up to the head of the line to see a friend of ours that we had heard was up there. So we went up there to go say hi, said hi to him, chatted for a couple of moments. And then we're like, okay, well, the line's getting longer. We got to go back. And folks were like, yeah, we'll hold your space. No problem. Okay, great. So it had gone around the corner of the building now, so we were walking back and heard somebody say, "Mr. and Mrs. BG." So we look over and it's Jason. I'm like, "Whoa, hey, what are you doing here?" He goes, "I'm here for the show." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's good, duh." But he's like, so we started talking to him and Tim Ryan, and we were just joking around, having a good time, just shooting the breeze, because we were there for an hour or more, maybe two, waiting for the doors open. Okay. And cars are pulling in, unloading people, lines getting longer. And I'm just like, dude, we were having so much fun. I'm like, we got to go get back in line. And Tim turns around, faces everybody behind us, goes, "Hey, this is Mr. and Mrs. BG. You guys don't mind if you hang out with us and go in with us when the doors open, do you?" And everybody goes, "No, you're good. You're all right." Just Late was there too, So we're just laughing and having a good time. And then the doors open and we're like, "Oh, we got to go in now."
So what I heard was you just kind of took advantage of your celebrity status and just I'm kidding.
The only time. Right? I pay my taxes. But yeah, we went in the door and Jason's like, "Okay, I'm gonna head over this way and set some stuff on the table." I'm like, "I'll go over there. I'll catch up with you later." Never saw him again for the whole day. Him or Tim. They just lost in the mix and stuff. But we stayed in contact, shared cell phone numbers and stuff, chatted about this, that, whatever. Became damn near brothers over texts and emails and stuff. And then it was actually like just a few weeks later, Mrs. BG's work is like, guess what? We're rolling out another phase, and that's going to be in Boston. And so she comes home and she's all excited. Well, guess what? We're going to Boston. I'm like, why? So she tells me, and I'm like, okay, but why Boston? You know? So it turns out we got to see Charlie Mack, go hang out with him at his place, and he cooked us one of his famous tomahawk steaks. Dude, if you get a chance to go hang out with Charlie, to sit on his porch and have a beer and talk about the Beavas,
The
do it.
Beavas.
The Beavas. So then we got to we had made plans with Jason and Heather, like the following Sunday we would drive up to their place and hang out, and they toured us all around Wolfsboro and hung out at his place. And sadly, we weren't the first YouTubers to get up there. Model Car Videos, Matthew was there
Matt,
2 weeks earlier or something like that. I'm like, dang, you know, if they just rolled that out sooner, we could have beat Matthew. But you know, it was a lot of fun. And dude, Mrs. BG and Heather were like, jabber, 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 jabber. I'm like, okay, this is awesome, because that never happens for Linda, you know, type of thing. She doesn't make connections with spouses very often. So that was a lot of fun. And it got to the point where they're walking off together, and Jason and I are just like, you want to get some ice cream?
Yeah, now tell the truth, BG. I've met Jason in person. Tell the truth. When they walked off, you were like this with your arm on his shoulder, kind of the way Fred Henry and Brian did me. They just go, "Don't worry, little buddy. It'll be okay."
Yeah.
See, you definitely got the red carpet. When I went up there, they were like, "Listen, you're not allowed to leave the house. Not allowed to tell anybody you know me. Just sit right here. Just sit over here in the corner." Now,
Really?
I'm kidding. I went up there and it was a holiday. The whole town was closed down for a parade and all that. So,
Oh wow,
I think
yeah,
collectively we knew better than to go downtown.
right.
But
Well, we were there during Bike Week.
oh
So we
wow,
cross over the state line into New Hampshire, and there's just motorcycles, motorcycles, motorcycles. And I'm like, wow, they really live by the live free or die motto here, don't they? This is, and Heather was like, oh, no, this is Bike Week. I'm like, oh, wow, okay, that was, so it's like, this is where all the Harleys are being sold. Okay, I get it.
Cool.
That's awesome. Cool, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good time. So, and we just had some vacation time saved up, so we were able to travel around and hit some shows here and there. And looking forward to doing Acme here. I think it's just 25 days away right now.
Yep.
Fred sent me a message the other day. It was like, 25, 28 days away.
Yep.
Right on. Yep.
In fact, he just posted in here, can't wait to see us at Acme. He says that now, but then I show up and he's like, yeah, you just stand over there, little buddy, so I got someplace to put my arm.
He needs an arm.
He's not like that at all. He'll be like, here, hold this, and then he'll walk away.
Right.
Hold my beer.
Don't drop this. Right on, Fred.
There he is.
Law enforcement people. Yeah, that's good. That way he gets a cut rate on the bail that he has to pay later on.
Sweet.
Does that mean that he's gonna bail us out?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Look at that.
I'm sure
25 more days. So you have a perspective that many of us, certainly myself, being on the East Coast, what is the model car event show type? How is it out there on, I guess you're considered Southwest, but we'll say West Coast. Anything west of the Mississippi is the West Coast. So I've not been out there, especially I've been out there in a truck and drove around, delivering stuff years ago. But I know you got a great club and you post a lot of stuff. A lot of events out there, a lot of stuff within driving distance, or what you got?
Yeah, it's kind of shrunk and then starting to grow again because we lost GSL, Greater Salt Lake show. That was a weird deal because they would do like every 2 years. And so COVID happened and they had to put it off for 3 years or something like that. And they just sort of ended up closing the show down. I can't recall exactly what the idea was for closing down everything, but they ended up closing it down. So all of us out here are like, we're going to be the next GSL. They're going to be the next GSL, So hopefully with the loss of the GSL, everybody ramps up their game so that they can stay going. There's a newer club in Colorado that's being run by our buddies Josh and Chris from Scale Speedworks in Resins by Reach. and VCG Resins by Reese, and they're starting their own show. It's going to be sometime
Awesome.
next year. So it's going to be up in Denver, and we're excited to go travel up there.
Nice.
There's some stuff going on in New Mexico, in Santa Fe, I think it is. Here in Phoenix, we have the local IPMS event, which the model car aspect of that has exploded. And the head judge actually pulled me aside, and he was like, all that you had to deal with over there? I said, yeah. He goes, that's your own fault. So he's like, I blame you, YouTubers. I'm like, well, I'm sorry. He goes, no, it's a nice problem to have. Thank you for advertising the show and stuff. So trying to get that, me and Matt and Chuck, we're trying to put our shoulder behind that and keep that going. And then we have the Desert Scale Classic that's here every April as well. That's starting to be a draw also.
And you guys lost NNL West, right?
That's right. This January will be in 2025 will be the last one ever. 40 years straight, I think they said, and then they're pulling the plug. But I've heard from the guys there that they say that they're it's a very expensive area to live in that part of California, so people are literally moving away. It's an older club, so a lot of the members are literally dying, and it's sad to hear that. And the folks that are left behind, they don't have the time, energy, or money to put into keeping that going, especially when the venues have all gotten so expensive. So
Right.
any place that's going away, we hear that it's the venue cost that's really hampering that. So Mrs. BG was kind of, I'll just tell this quick story here, but she was kind of talking about, hey, if we ever hit the lottery big, like buy your own island type of big, she's like, what would you want to do? I'm like, I would create my own I don't want to say charity, but like a thing where you could write grants for model clubs around the country to rent locations, and then
That would be
That'd be really
the thing, and all you would need to do is just submit some paperwork, and we can vet that, and then write a check type of thing. So that's what I would want to do if we had ever hit the money big. So I asked Lindy, like, what would you want to do with the money? She's like, I kind of want to do the same thing. So I'm like, cool, all right, well, which reminds me, I got to check the numbers this week.
Right. Talking about that, I personally have what we call lottery dream. Where I live here in Central Florida, Ocala, we have a place called the Equestrian Center. It's owned by a guy, RL Gator Robert. He owns RL Gator Trucking. So they have these huge centers or event places. It's like 4 football fields under roof, air conditioned, with a fancy motel right next door. It's all based around the horses, but they do some car shows there. The Festival of Speed comes there. My lottery dream is to be able to rent that hall for a weekend and tell all the vendors and all and host without it costing anybody anything. Host a huge model show with vendors, podcasters, the whole shooting match there. So I told my girl that, and she says, that sounds like a really sweet dream. I'm going to be on the island that we own. I'll see you when you get here.
Yeah. Bye.
with their lumber.
Have fun with that.
Yeah. Well, it's this community has done so much for me personally. So paying back in that aspect is the best way I could think of doing that. So
Amen.
So let's talk a little bit about your builds, BG.
Sure. I haven't done much lately.
Yeah, but like most of us, we're cars, right? And I know you do a little bit of everything. What's kind of your main inspiration when you put a kit down on your bench, and how do you make a decision on what's the path for that particular kit?
Let's see. Main inspiration. Usually, I've just been joked around that I'm like the group build king or whatever, or at least I used to be. That was, I've since ceded the crown for that, thankfully. But usually the group build thing was what inspired me to grab something out of the stash and build it, because otherwise it was just going to sit there. If I built what I felt like building, I'd be tinkering around with the same kit, never getting it done, type of thing. So group builds actually help inspire me to pull stuff off the wall and build it. And then sometimes I working on something that felt like it was the right choice for that particular group build, but not quite understanding where I should go with it.
Yep.
So then I get out the Google machine and start Googling images. And then once I find what I call my inspiration or spirit car, I'll build it in that fashion. Like the Roadrunner that we did for USEC last a couple terms back.
Yep.
I had no idea what to do with it. And then I'm just swiping on the Google Images, and I found this murdered out, all black rooms and everything. And I'm like, it was like that image was the only thing I could see, and it was like, I was like, this is it. Oh, thank you. You know? So then that was the direction I wanted to go in, and I didn't copy the thing completely. I still did a couple of my own touches here and there, but yeah, sometimes just having to search an image or something like that, like the Super B kit that I'm struggling with right now, I just did a Google image because I don't want to do the green box art. Didn't like how the box art looked, which is rare for me. I'm usually all about the box art. And I'm looking at it right here, and I'm like, I went searching for it, and I found somebody had done the Go Mango with the modern color scheme of that, and I thought, okay, that's a great color. What do I want to do to it now? And then moving along down the line on that guy, it was like, you know what? It'd be really cool if I added on this Hemi scoop from the Dart.
Yep.
Okay, great. Let's graft that on there. I'd never done that before, but I knew in my mind that was in my mind's eye that was going to look awesome. So I did that, and then that led to the next thing, to the point where 2 years later it's still not done. But for inspiration, I'll just get like a hankering, like, oh, you know what? I really want to build a rally car. Which one do I want to do? Sometimes when I'm hanging out with Mrs. BG, I'll just sit down with a stack of model kits next to me, and I'll just go through and be like, nope,
Oh, really?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I'll
sometimes they reach out and grab you. Like, oh, that's the one. They pick you. You don't pick them.
Right. It's like kids. Wait, no, that's not how that works.
Well, you may laugh at this, and I'm sorry. I was going to say, you may laugh at this. The storm is causing me to have a little bit of a delay here, guys. If you hadn't noticed, the lights are flashing. So if I disappear, that's why. But I want to get this in before. I love all your builds. You build some great stuff. But my favorite build of yours is that 48-hour group build.
Oh, the most recent one?
Yeah, the recent one, the Toyota. Yes, I love that little truck. And for you to do what you did with that truck in 48 hours is absolutely amazing. I think, and I love. I'm an off-road guy anyway, so that one just struck a chord with me.
You did the DeLorean 2 years ago, didn't you?
Yep, the DeLorean. Yeah, that was the model I realized I needed to step up my hand painting, brush painting skills, because I didn't realize that those polar light kits were so generic, I guess is the best way to do that. So there's a lot of molded in place stuff. So I started ramping up my my brush painting skills. So I thought, I'll just slap this thing together, paint it up, and then next thing I know, it's like 2 hours to finish, and I'm like, painting stuff, and I'm like, oh, come on, man.
Oh, was that a curbside kit then?
Technically, yeah.
Okay. I've never seen that before, so I was kind of shocked when you did it.
What's really cool about that kit is the body is actually chromed with a little bit of a brushed type of texture to it. So yeah, all the polar light ones are chromed already. So that's
that's cool.
That makes life a lot easier. I tell you what.
Right.
So you're saying you cheated?
No.
No, it's a 48-hour group build. No,
it actually followed my rules for 48. Low on decals. No NASCARs, and then curbside. Those are the for me, that's the best type of thing. Oh, and don't eat pizza while you're working on that stuff. And if Matt calls you,
learned so much in that 48-hour group build watching Matt. I never knew that you could use Tamiya thin cement to lay down your decals. Wow, what a cool thing to learn.
Yeah. he's definitely an influence.
It sticks pretty good.
Yeah. Put
I was
right
gonna
there where
say,
you left it. Don't
it's
try to
a
move it.
40
It ain't moving.
I was gonna say, if it's a $40 group build and Matt calls, you better answer the phone because you're gonna talk him off the roof at some point. You know?
He's on the roof.
I'm on the
He's on
roof.
the roof. I'm on the roof. I'm on the roof. Well, he just did that interview with Rattle Can Shenanigans where he was talking lie. There he is. Man says lies, all lies. He was doing the thing with Rattle Can Shenanigans and talking about how he would, back in the day he was using Mark Fit to glue a piece on, and I'm like, dude, you got this all backwards. Here I am looking up to you, and you got it all backwards.
I seen the one video where he said that the
Yellow,
glue just
this
keeps
is green.
disappearing.
Yeah, that was the one with the Mark Fit. He's like, it won't hold. It's not tacky. Mark says, no NASCAR? What? Why no NASCAR? Lies all
Oh,
lies.
that's just because I'm not a normal NASCAR builder, so the learning curve on that's going to be pretty steep for me.
Well, the decals on those are pretty intense. Even the
Yeah.
old monogram, they're pretty intense. Yeah.
And some of those can be not stored well, so the decals can be a problem.
Yeah.
Perhaps you know what I'm speaking of. But I mean, even those new Solvinos kits, I have one of the rollout versions I'm supposed to be finishing off here. I got to the point where the decals are starting to have to do the decal work, and it's like, okay, we'll put that on the shelf of shame. You know why it's there. So yeah, I mean, because they have layers of decals and stuff. And I'm like, okay.
They're pretty intense, that's for sure. Now the decals that come with the JR Salvinos, which I'm a big JR Salvinos fan. If you watched the live cast, what was it, 3 weeks ago? At least 3 weeks ago, yeah. We were talking about our top 5 brands. Obviously, subject matter has a lot to do with it, but them JR Salvino kits are super impressive. The decals, and Matt can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Clay Kemp does the design, and it's either way, those are super nice decals. But again, you're not wrong, especially on the new cars. It's almost like a wrap.
Yeah.
Like you got to lay this one down, lay that one down, which the new stuff is wrapped. So it's like you don't even have to paint the body or primer it. You just lay the decals down and boom, there you go. And I'm like, that's a lot of work. That's a
That's by
lot of work.
design. I believe that's by design. So that's they're getting something figured out there, I think, and that's pretty awesome.
That is pretty cool.
Speaking of that, the way the hobby's going now with Solvino, being kind of like the new kid on the block, and then Atlantis purchasing all the Tom Daniel stuff and repopping all that stuff. I mean, we're going to see another golden age here with model car, the modeling world in general, but the model car thing specifically. I think we're going to see another golden age here coming up pretty soon.
Nice.
Yeah, I think so too. My personal opinion, and we won't chase too many rabbits there because we'll save some of the 3D stuff for our old buddy Chuck when he comes on. Oop, did I say that? Chuck's coming. Oh, I did say that. I actually see the future of the hobby to where you get your plastic kit, your regular AMT kit, and it comes with 3D printed parts. That's what I'd like to see anyway. I don't think one is better than the other. Love to see that be something in the future.
In the military and aircraft world, I dabble in that a little bit, but I'm not too sophisticated in that area. But I do know that there are kits that come with resin cast stuff like stowage and all that kind of jazz in the kit, along with photo etch and some other things. And I remember back in the early days of my model building, I had a coworker that was a very accomplished airplane builder, and a little bit of a language barrier because he was from Guatemala when he was learning English and I was learning Spanish, so we were helping each other out. And we would talk model building and stuff. We worked the night shift together. And I said, yeah, I got this B-26 model, and it's got this lump of resin for the landing gear bay. And he's like, what did you do with it? I said, I tossed it. I'm not going to use that. He goes, you threw it away? I said, yeah. He goes, never throw away the resin. I'm like, why? He goes, the detail's better. It adds weight to the front of the plane. He's going down this whole list of stuff, and I'm just going, But yeah, is it Hasegawa that repop stuff with like a new resin spoiler, or a new resin tail fin or something like, or skirts, whatever. So it's kind of interesting to see the resin stuff kind of becoming mainstream for a lot of kit manufacturers. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you open up a kit one day and it's got a little basket, like Iceman will send out, a little basket of shifter, steering wheel, because 3D printing something like that, or using 3D printing to create the mold so you can resin cast that stuff, which is rapid prototyping, they call it.
Yep.
That would be a really cool thing, because doing that would probably cost a lot less than creating a mold, having to carve a mold, that kind of thing. I could be totally off base with that, but that's how I feel. 3D printing is going to become so mainstream soon. That
I agree with you.
maybe or AMT will just sell file packs to print your own grumpy,
Yeah.
I think that'll be an option. I think that, maybe down the road that's an option. And Jason, I'm going to go ahead and shut up because you can speak better to the 3D stuff than I can. If you guys watch my video today, I got a whole bunch of stuff from Jason and some stuff from Paul Maddox at Left Coast. But Jason, I'll let you talk on this subject because I know, right? Breathe, Mike, breathe.
I agree, but I think I like the styrene bodies and the chassis better than the resin stuff because it's more friendly to modify.
Mm-hmm.
It's friendly to glue back together. Like my 55 Ford truck from last year, the USAC build, I sectioned the fenders and moved them. And with resin, that would just be a nightmare, to do what I did. So, I mean, I agree that there's a possibility that you're going to see files for sale by the round 2, but I think too, I hope they don't. Selfishly, I hope they don't, because I like going and buying that box and having that art and being able to rip that, cellophane off that kit and open it up. That brings me back as a kid. I just love that part of it. So
yeah. Well, I mean, for our generation, you're not going to get that same satisfaction by taking that thumb drive.
Yeah, right.
Or putting it in the 3D printer. You're not going to have that satisfaction of, like styrene has a smell. It's a comforting smell. It's a warm smell. It's a happy smell. It's a nurturing smell. Yes, exactly, familiar. But I mean, could you imagine buying a box, getting it home, opening it up, and inside it's just foam with a thumb drive with a 3D printed file on there? Awesome, cool.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll ever get to that, because that would mean that everybody that's in the hobby would have to buy a 3D printer, would have to buy the cleaner, would have to, do all that stuff. And I don't see that being a thing. But
and there's a certain mess that can be with printers as well. And I don't know that a lot of people want that,
Oh yeah. I mean, I find 3D printed parts to be a vast asset to the hobby, but I have to agree with Matt. It's probably not gonna replace anything. And there are people. I mean, like Redline out of the Ukraine, they did a beautiful multimedia Tucker model kit that's never been out there before, and we'll probably never see something like that since. But to have that type of thing available is awesome. So that one-time splurge is a nice thing to have. But in order to, I mean, I joke about getting a 3D printer file out of a model kit.
No, yeah, we know.
But I mean, it's a useful asset to the hobby. Scratch building is an awesome art form.
Yep,
that's how I feel about it. I like dabbling in that, and but I also like sometimes just snipping a part off of a 3D printed tree and like adding that on there, not breaking it, and then adding that on there, But I think it's another way to enhance the building experience for folks that might not have the time to sit down and scratch build something. So.
Well, and I think
if you're like me and you're a lazy son of a gun, you make friends with guys like Jason that know what they're doing, and guys like Joel from Iceman Collections. And even if you don't make friends with them, you can go on to VCG, Joel, whoever, and then they're like, you know what? it's a couple bucks. It's not overly priced. It's it's not crazy. So you're
Yeah.
like, boom, I got it. I want
Right.
these special tires and whatever. So,
But
but I
for me,
think
it
they're
was the tires. It was the tires and the carburetors that was the big reason for me to get the printer.
Yeah.
The carburetors are so generic.
Yeah.
I like scratch building all my suspension, my roll cages, my chassis. To me, that's the fun part, is the scratch building. But scratch building wheels, no thanks. That's just too much time. I'd rather just print them and detail them.
Yeah, I get you. For me, doing like a mild little custom to a car would be adding some wheels and tires. And over the years, just having model kits that failed, or buying something that was a glue bomb, whatever, and having a basket full of wheels and tires to dig through and try, mock up on the car and everything to kind of set the theme of the build, something like that. That's always a lot of fun for me. But I would come to a point where I'm like, yeah, do I really want to spend the time to clean up these junky old wheels and stuff, or do I just want to call Joel and be like, hey, what do you got?
Right.
I have yet to like really embrace adding 3D parts to stuff. I'm still just this thing here, that thing there. I'm not like doing the whole front to back type of thing with a 3D printing. So not like our buddy Chuck does, because I still want to build model kits as they were intended to be built.
Gotcha.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So like the Super B kit, I really wanted to stay within the realm of the model that came in the box, but do the best job I could with it. And it's not really exactly box stock. It's more like box stock plus, I guess they call it now.
Mm-hmm.
And just a couple of added little things, and then throw on some yellow plug wires, and away we go.
Just was going to ask you that. Wires. What plug wires are you putting on it?
Yeah, you got to have yellow plug wires. It must be a yellow plug. I'm with Mark. If you have the ability, and those that have been building for a long time, there was nothing available, so you had to scratch build. It does add a certain level, not a certain. Increases the challenge level, the ability level, and I watch his stuff and try to get some tips from there. But that's, like you said, that's another art form, and those guys back in the day, they didn't have any other availability, so they had to build it themselves. Right. They knew what it looked like. Using Mark for an example, he knew what was supposed to be there because he worked on these things. He was dealing with these things one-to-one. So, and it definitely it's an art form. And I do a little bit of that. I did on that 67. I'll call it scratch building, but I took the V5 chassis from Iceman and I attached it to the bottom, kept basically the bottom plate of the kit and molded it all together. So that's not scratch building, but it's at least, what I'm saying, it's kind of a form of it, I guess.
Hybrid.
Yeah. But, what's that, Jason?
It's a hybrid build.
It's a hybrid build. That's right.
Yay, yellow plug wires. But I'll tell you what, dude. Fred, here's a story for you. I had a Honda Del Sol, 1995 Honda Del Sol. I bought it used at a Saturn dealership, and weeks after I got the car, I thought, I'm going to do a tune-up on this Honda. So I went to Pep Boys and I bought a set of Excel plug wires because they're cool. So I had yellow plug wires with the red boots underneath the hood of my Honda Del Sol, and I was just like, yeah. Turns out I had the wrong spark plugs. They were too hot a range or something like that, so they didn't work out quite well. But I love those spark plug wires.
So here's another question I'd like to ask you there. You might have seen our episode where we all kind of did our top 5 brands that we favor. What would you say your top 5 models? My brands?
Top 5. Does it have to be in the world of automotive?
No, it could be any brand. Yep. Okay,
so top of my list is going to be Tamiya, right? Because I really like how they engineer their stuff. I think it's really cool. Tamiya, and then let's see. I'm going to say Revell out of. Let's walk that back a step. Tamiya, and then Monogram. Monogram has a huge amount of nostalgia for me because the very first model kit I built was a Monogram model. And my dad was a Monogram guy. He's like, if you want better detail on your models, you get a Monogram kit. I'm like, okay, you know. And then there's other things about life you need to learn too, that kind of stuff. But let's say Tamiya, Monogram, and then Revell. AMT definitely has a place in my heart for one specific reason. They're the only model kit company that's still popping out Corvairs.
See, for me, it's the Duster.
That's the Duster.
For me, it's the roundy round cars. They're still making, you know, them old school roundy round cars. I
they're
think
doing a
AMT
good job
is
reproducing those, you know.
They're a staple in this community. Even though Round 2 owns them now, it's still the same molds. They're, you know, aluminum metal toys. They're not going anywhere. They've been around forever, and of course, you know, they're in the the late '80s, '90s when the hobby started falling down and nobody was doing it. Thank God for COVID. Everybody came back in. I know that sounds horrible, but it's the truth. COVID brought the hobby back. That's where people got interested in 3D printers. I like I said, there was a lot of lives lost, and that's sad. But at least for the hobby, it was a bonus. But
I'll tell you what, the 3D printer thing was such a boom out here in Arizona that the local auto parts stores couldn't keep filler primer in stock.
Wow.
Because that was the thing you used on the filament style printers, you know.
Yep.
Yes.
And the spaghetti monster machines, and they because I call it that because when those things fail, it's a spaghetti monster.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But yeah, they couldn't keep the filler primer in stock here because everybody was using that to fill it. You know, I don't know what they were printing, of course, but that was the thing of choice.
And that's another technology. Look at where it came. I believe those are called filament. Jason, am I right? They're called Look at that technology compared to the resin technology. I mean,
you even have two forms of metal too. You have your like a wire feed filament, like a MIG welder printer, and then you also have your metal powder printers.
Yes, like they'll do that with titanium, won't they?
Yep.
It's insane.
Cool technology, yeah.
It's insane that you can print yourself your own Iron Man outfit full size.
Yeah. Did you see that? They actually made that?
Yeah, and it's bulletproof.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's insane.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, Adam Savage can print it because he's like 6 foot. They're not making one for me.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad. They don't make one with the girth that I need. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. I would love to know what they got invested in that.
Oh yes.
You know what I mean? That's got to be an astronomical number. Yeah.
But see, I think I only did 4. I would say my 5th one is definitely Bandai because of their Star Wars kits.
Okay.
I love how they do their Star Wars kits, and their Gundams are cool. And that's debatable. I know there's a lot of folks out there like to argue that that's not really a model kit, but I use them as palette cleansers between big jobs.
Never had either one of them. Were you a Lego kid?
Oh, I still am a Lego kid.
Yeah. See, that was a thing for me too, was the Lego kits, and then when the Technic kits came about, where they had moving parts, all over it. But
oh yeah, I started building like RC car scale stuff with shocks and positionable steering and all that jazz, engines with pistons that move in and out.
Yeah.
And then after I get done building and assembling this thing, I'm like, an RC car would have cost less.
I'm telling you,
it would run. Yeah. But that'd be my top 5.
I'm trying to get a friend of mine here into models, and he's like, no, I can't do it. And I'm like, why not? He goes, well, the big cars and my other hobby. And he always says my other hobby. And I'm like, okay. So one day I go over there and I go in his house to use the restroom. I'm like, there's his man cave. So I peek in there, and it's shelves full of Lego kits that he's built. And it's majority Star Wars stuff, and it's so cool. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm going cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. And he's working on the Death Star. And I go, what does that thing cost? He goes, about $1,000.
Yep.
And I'm like, wow, for Legos. Holy moly. So,
yeah,
but it's cool.
We have a war at the house. We have a rule here at the
And
house.
BG, I'm sure you do the same thing. Doing research to be able to ask, questions or whatever. We all do our little research and whatever. You brought up Bandai kits. I heard something on it. Maybe it was Model Insanity or one of them. But in Japan, the Bandai kits and the that type of what are they called? Not the I see Transformers Gundam.
Gundams, yeah.
They're saying that's $1 billion a year business over there.
It
Wow.
is.
Billion with a B.
Yep.
I mean, like I said, I did some research, but I don't know that to be a fact. But the guy that I heard it from knows what he's talking about. So
That's
yeah.
can you
No,
imagine
it's
$1
insane.
billion? But Bandai makes a lot of different stuff too. Is that you're more
Yeah.
experienced with?
They used to actually make model car kits back in the day.
Oh, did they?
Yep, large scale. Sometimes they were mostly like European vehicles. Not to my knowledge, not too much American stuff at all, but it was mostly like classic, like Rolls Royce, Phantoms, and stuff like that, Bugattis, things like that, from the early days of automobile heritage, and they just kind of evolved into what they are today. I'm not an officiant on Bandai. I just happen to know that one little corner of their
Right.
existence there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they used to make car models and way back when, back in the 70s, I think it was.
So
That
who's
is too
the
cool.
company that does that deal where you got to buy the subscription and it's usually like a much larger?
There's a couple of those. Eagle Mouse, I think, is one of those. But you can get like a Millennium Falcon right now through one of those places, or like an Ecto 1 from Ghostbusters, and you get like a part a week. But the thing is, you don't always get the next corresponding part to the thing you just worked on. So you're like, hey, I've got the rear suspension. Awesome, cool. Maybe I'll get the drive shaft and transmission. Hey, here's a headlight. So
I
it
had
kind of
never,
depends how it goes. But
I had
yeah,
never heard of that until I went to JaxCon, and there was I want to say it was the 16th scale. It might have been bigger, but it was a Shelby Cobra. And Fred or Brian or one of those guys was telling me that that kit costs like $1,500, and you get it in pieces. Like every month you pay whatever the number is, and then they send you a package. Super detailed kit, super nice kit. But I'm like, wow, $1,500, a lot of money for a car.
yeah.
And it was in
Okay,
the display area. It wasn't even in the show.
so here's what I want to see. I want to see somebody order one of those and start building it, along with, it's going to be a race, right? Along with somebody who orders a Factory 5 Cobra and see who gets done first, right?
or who runs out of money first.
Oh, it'd be Factory 5 guy first, I would imagine. But yeah, I'd like to watch that race.
Yeah.
1/12. Well, Fred said it was 1/12 scale, so it was a
1/12.
big one, and it was super detailed. But boy, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And it must be a monthly subscription that you have to pay then, right?
I have no idea.
You basically send them a check or whatever. So getting back to the research for podcast, there's this podcast I listen to about every 2 weeks. It's got these three weirdos on it, and then there's this really nice guy. Yeah, his name's BG. You might have met him. The other three weirdos that are on there, it is what it is. Just kidding. Talk to me and a little bit about what brought that on the scale of the Scale Model Car podcast. Where did that get inspired from?
So that is 100% Luca, right? And all day long, every day, I will give that man all the props he deserves because he had the brass to start it. And then not only just start it, but come to guys like me and go, I want you to be a part of this. And I'm like, whatever, okay, sure.
Sure.
Well, I was excited as hell. I was chomping at the bit. I'm like, when are we going to do this? He's like, okay, I'm going to get a couple of the guys on board here. So he'd been talking to Chuck also because he's working with Chuck at the time. And so, yeah, it was pretty much Matt creating that. He's always wanted to do a proper podcast, not just the unpodcast that he's done, but wanted to do a proper podcast talked to Chuck about it, invited me on board, and then he kind of made friends with Jason through interviewing him on his own podcast. And then after our very first episode, I was like talking to Chuck and Matt. I'm like, why are we just keeping Jason in the wings, dude? We need to get this guy in here full term. So then
I
Jason,
remember the first 3 episodes. Jason wasn't on the introduction.
he wasn't on the
just kind of
introduction,
showed up. Yeah.
But Jason was like, thank you so much for bringing me. I'm like, yeah, wait. Thank me later.
Well,
no,
without Jason, we wouldn't have the Northeast Malachi report.
Yeah, that's right. And that's like a contractual agreement. He has to say that at least once an episode.
Well, congratulations too on your 1-year anniversary for that.
Right, September 15th this year, 1-year anniversary. Congratulations to you all.
Crazy. We had plans for the topic, and then like at the last second, I was like, "Oh, by the way, did you realize that this is our 1-year anniversary?" Like an hour before we go on to record, I'm like, "Son of a, we should have just screwed around for an hour," you know?
Yeah.
Not like we don't normally do that, but yeah, I've had an absolute blast doing that, and I don't know how much longer it's going to go for, but I'm going to enjoy every last second I can of that stuff because that is some fun stuff.
Well, not to brag too much on our AMC thing, but just for the record, we got Mark Batson on episode number 7. You guys waited till number 10.
Yep. Well, it's been nice. Talk to you guys later. Hey, can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
Okay. In the world of TV and movie cars, which cars would you want to have in your driveways as personal drivers? Can be
Jason,
anything.
I'm going to let you go first.
I would have to say the little Deuce out of American Graffiti.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah.
That's the yellow one, right?
Yep.
God, what was the guy's name in that one?
Milner. John
Milner.
Milner.
Milner's Deuce. Yes. Okay, good choice. How about you?
So for me, it's TV and movies. And I've thought about this, because I've heard you asked this question on the podcast, and I'm like, I don't even know. I mean, the first answer that automatically comes to my brain, because I'm a 70s, 80s kid, of course, the General Lee. Okay. The General Lee would have to be my car, and yes, I would have the flag on the top, but I think that would be my go-to, but I've even thought about it because that should be the stereotypical answer from a guy that lives in the South, but I think my real answer is going to be Daisy's Jeep. I'm a Jeep guy at heart. I've always built and been around Jeeps. Dad came home in 1981 when I was 10 years old with a Jeep. I had a one-to-one shop till recently, and I closed it down. But my true answer is going to be Daisy's Jeep. Just that Golden Eagle. That's what I want to drive around.
That was a cool Jeep.
It was.
Jason,
it's the only AMC that's famous.
Yeah. Well, should we tell Mike that Daisy doesn't come with the Jeep?
Yeah, I was wondering where he was going.
Well, let me think about it again, because I thought she came with it. No, the real truth is, as most of y'all know, and I'm a huge AMC fan. And I'm sure there was some AMCs in movies and whatever, but that Jeep is probably the most popular AMC out there. So I got to support my shut down car company. The little company that could till it couldn't no more.
That's why I'm a Corvair fan, man.
Yeah. I know.
Have one. Never will have one again, but yeah. All right, so mine would be Herbie.
Herbie.
Yeah.
Good choice. Good choice.
I would love to have a car. I could just be like, hey, go pick up the Chipotle order.
Right.
You know, and that would be
not a Volkswagen. Herbie. Right. Herbie, you don't want a Volkswagen. I mean, not that the Volkswagens aren't cool, but more specifically, you want Herbie with the number painted on it, and you can now you can text him. Like in modern day, you can text him, Herbie, go get me a go over to Chuck's house and get me a burger.
Yeah, go stall in Whataburger's drive-through line, please. Okay, thank you.
What year was that car in the movies?
I think it was supposed to be 66.
66.
66 or 63, somewhere in there. I can't quite recall.
My
I
dad
believe it
always
was
used to
66.
say. My dad always used to say that the Knight Rider was a copy from the Herbie thing.
Yeah, well,
Car was alive. Yeah.
yeah, I would say that that's fairly true. I mean, yeah,
You
I'd say
know.
that's fair. That's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
I
And
like
if
your dad.
Bumblebee was an AMC, I would choose Bumblebee first, but he's a Chevrolet, and we all know how I feel about GM products.
Well, actually, Bumblebee was a Volkswagen. If you
First, he
know, you
was
like
a
the
Volkswagen. He
yeah,
was. Then he was that Camaro.
right.
Did the 74-ish
Well, from the
Camaro.
original
Yep.
Hasbro cartoon, he was a Volkswagen Bug. Yep.
Yep,
Was it? Okay.
Hasbro. Until all are one.
Yeah.
Well, we are creeping up on our hour, and I promised you I wouldn't keep you too much after an hour. So, anything that you want to promote and talk about to get out there, your channel, your podcast, all
Yeah.
that stuff?
So, we talked about the podcast, and I'll just make mention that that is on Spotify, and we try to keep it around every 2 weeks. We record on a Friday and post on a Sunday or Monday, so that folks have something to listen to on their way to work or on their way home. Something, there are a couple of people have written in and been like, I really enjoy having this for me to look forward to on my way into work on Monday morning. And we're like, great, just don't listen to it at work over the speakers, please.
See, for me, it's my headphones on my bulldozer. Now that I
Same
sold the
here.
shop, I'm running a
And
bulldozer. So I started from the beginning. I've been listening as they came out, but I've been binging them and just got through to the most recent. And then I switched over to the Model Insanity podcast. But yeah, it is an awesome show. You guys do such a great job. Hats off to all you guys. Thank you for that content, that chance for us to be able to listen, relax. I know a lot of guys that just put it on their phone or whatever, or put it on the whatever, and then be listening to it while they're building. And
That's
that's
what
it's just you guys. I hope you know how much of a profound effect it's had in the model car community. You guys are awesome, and we love you for it.
well, thank you so much. That made my whole month right there. Thank you. And not just because that's the end of the month, but it'll carry over into the next month. But yeah, the feedback we get. I mean, personally, I was at a show, Desert Scale Classic, in April, and we're waiting in line. They're having a little bit of a lag with the registration process, and there's this gentleman and his son standing next to me. And I just turned to the guy and I start talking to him about this, that, whatever. That's just the kind of person I am, chatting about that, this and that. And then the guy was like, chuckling and responding and stuff. And then we do our check-in. And then like a half an hour later, the guy comes back up to me with his son. He goes, by the way, I just want to say we love my son and I, we have a metal shop in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And he's like, I just want to say that we love your podcast. We listen to it all the time. And I'm like, whoa, you listen to the podcast? He goes, yeah, I'm sorry I didn't respond quite that much when you were talking to me in line, because I was like, all of a sudden there's BG talking to me. Oh my God, what do we do? That kind of a thing. I'm like, what? Really? Come on, man. But yeah, people reach out and tell us how much they enjoy listening to us, how much the release they get through the laughter that they get, that just helps them get through their day or whatever. And I mean, one of the reasons why I do it is because of that in itself is just helping folks have a good time. And model car related content's just I like to say it's the gravy on the cake.
Right. And the chemistry you guys got is awesome. It really is.
Yeah.
And there's a mixture of show, you guys do a little show coverage. Of course, Chuck always does his 3D stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You guys got a great mixture, and it makes my days go by very fast at work. It really does. So
good. I'm glad to hear that.
I wish they were on every day. So.
I sometimes wish we were also. But yeah, everybody has their own thing they bring to the show, personality-wise and content-wise.
Yep.
And I think that's just awesome. Somebody who does kind of the announcing for the show makes my life so much easier. That Chuck is invested in the 3D printing, Matt's invested in doing the editing, and then doing the FAQs and that kind of stuff. And then Jason with the model car report, and then the new model kit release.
Wrong. A Northeast Malachi
Oh,
report.
I'm not allowed to say it that way. He's told me.
Oh.
Yeah, that's my story.
You slap your hand knuckles with a ruler if you say it.
Northeast Malachi report. But
There it is.
yeah,
You got a
so
knuckle slap coming.
he does that aspect of it, and then finds out the new releases and stuff, and then we just bring it all together, and we'll have our production meetings, and we'll just be like, okay, any FAQs? Yes. Chuck, do you have any? Oh, I got stuff coming. Okay, great. Jason, what do you got? I've got this, and this. I'm still working on that. So it just kind of just falls together because we're invested in not just doing a good job, but having a good time.
Yes.
I think that's key. And it sounds like it comes across to you guys. So that's working. I'm glad to hear that.
Matt's producing and editing skills are top notch. I mean, it's like, I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, I wish that this show eventually gets to that point where we have flawless entries and all that, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So I can only imagine the hours that Matt puts into those episodes,
Yes. The one where we had Rob Riv and Steve Tooch, he spent, I think, 10 hours at the keyboard.
Wow.
Whittling that thing down. And he almost chopped out like every and type of thing to make us sound really, really good. And I'm like, I don't think I deserve that kind of effort, but thank you. And I wish I could just email him my videos and have him edit those and put those up for me, but I can't afford that type of labor.
Right.
Well, your podcast has definitely been a motivation for this channel and what we're doing here. Matt used to get after me when we didn't know what to call it. It's certainly not a podcast, but it wasn't a live either. And then Jason came up with Livecast.
Yeah.
And I immediately got a text message from Matt and said, and I'll forget the other vocabulary that he used, but basically it was perfect.
Yeah.
So thank you for the inspiration, both on building and for the channel that we got going on now. Without all you guys, Jason was our first host, our first guest, and we had Matt. We want to get Matt back so we can talk to him, one-on-one like we are you. We had him with Mark, which again, we had him episode 7. You guys went till 10. But
so that
one-on-one.
That Chuck is technically not the last one from the group to be on there.
Technically not.
Yeah.
But I can put him behind Matt. That way there, he ends up being, the best for last thing. So.
Four tacos
an hour.
4 tacos an hour.
All right, let's see what I can do. 3.5. I'll negotiate that down. But
I'm going to take a breath because Jason tells me I should, so I'm going to let him ask some questions, and then we'll close this thing out. Oh, you forgot one thing that you might want to mention. The BG model channel show model. Your YouTube channel.
I was watching you dig that hole. I was having a good time. Like, I know you operate heavy machinery. Let's see how he does with this. Yeah, so if you guys aren't familiar with my channel, it's BG Model Workshop, and of course it's here on the YouTubes, and been around for about 7 years now, making mostly model car content, but sometimes a little bit of sci-fi, a little pop culture. Matter of fact, I'm working on this weirdo kit for my buddy Colonel Red and Papa Dan. They're hosting their Weirdos cartoon deformed group build, so I'm kind of tinkering with that right now. A little sci-fi here and there, just get some fun.
You got it handy? Let's see it. It.
So this guy, I don't have it built yet. It's it's still.
Oh, now you're up on the big screen. Bruce got you up on the big screen. Let's see it. Oh, you just
I'm just gonna throw stuff at the screen here. So yeah, I got the guy put together. Got to put in his lower plate, but we're getting close to getting some paint on that guy, and just to do something a little different and help support some friends. But you can totally take me off the big screen. No, thank you. But I'm never that large when I proof watch my videos. But
What a great project to do that does. I know you're getting into the figure stuff, not the finger painting, the
no,
figure painting. So what a
yes,
great project to have to do to try and do some different techniques, some different styles on.
yeah.
And that's awesome, man. That's
I,
awesome. But I'm
I'm
gonna
like,
take a breath and let Jason talk because again, I tend to dominate.
you can mute him, right? It's free.
He can't, but Bruce can.
Bruce, can you hear me? Oh,
Oh yeah. So Joe's pointing out the fact that Just Model Car Garage is doing BG appreciation build right now.
That is true.
that's cool.
That's
I
not.
was actually on a Discord with you when Jeff dropped that, and it immediately popped up on. And I remember the look on your face of humble, shy, happy, but oh my god, they're all like I could almost see your face turning red when that happened. That was what an
Yeah.
amazing response from such a humble guy.
We were all at Charlie's house visiting. Me, him, Jason, and the ladies. We're all at Charlie Mack's house visiting, and Jeff was like, "By the way, we're going to be doing a another appreciation build this year, and it's going to be for that guy." And I'm like, "Oh, son of a- no, no, no." He's like, "No, no, 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 you're not getting out of this." I'm like, "Okay, all right, I will." Okay, it's not weird at all.
It's not weird at all.
Not
Yeah.
weird at all. But I am truly humbled by what people are doing and working on. So that's
That's
really
cool.
I echo what Fred said. It's a very well deserved build for a very positive and good person in this community. I
awesome.
couldn't think of anybody better right now. Yeah,
Thank you.
Matt, I see you back there. You maybe one day we'll get you in there or get do an appreciation build for you.
I do have an idea for Matt's appreciation build. You have to pick a model kit, start it, and
And
never
don't
finish.
finish it. And don't don't
If
finish.
that
Get
doesn't
halfway
get me
through it.
fired, I don't know what will.
Matt's
He
talking
can't fire you. You're the one that corrals all the cats and gets them back
Yeah.
together.
What was that, Jason?
We're up to 12 tacos now, Matt said. 12 tacos an hour.
That's all right. I hold him up here. He can't get them. So
Wait a minute.
So
I can
before we
relate to
let
that.
you go, would you like to share with the crowd what your kind of thoughts are for this guy right here?
oh yeah, okay. So I am going in the direction of kind of like a Street Freaks gasser.
Okay.
Completely out of the wheelhouse. Our good buddy Blue Ox has sent me from MCV 3D printing. I can't remember.
Matthew. Yeah.
Yeah, Matthew had a gasser front end with the leaf springs and the cross members and everything. Sent me one of those. That's a beautiful looking piece,
Yeah.
So I'm excited to experiment with that. And then so I'm doing the lifted front end. And then I have to the radius, the wheel arches in the back because a friend of mine, Chris Rohde, had gotten into 3D printing and designed his own wheels and tires. And we kind of, as a club, give him a hard time, jokingly give him a hard time because there's no tread on the tires. So it's like perfect. They're perfect for strip racing, skater strip. And we at one show, one meeting, he was like, "Hey, look, I finally got tread on my tires." I'm like, "You did?" So he holds up a tire. He's got a piece of masking tape with wavy lines drawn on it all the way around it. I'm like, "Come on!"
Oh, that's hilarious.
I'm like, "How much is that set?" He's like, "Oh, you couldn't afford these."
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, I'm totally doing the gasser. But I want to do one that's a little weathered. Something that somebody sort of salvaged and was kind of building up. Yeah, raised or sat out behind the house for a little too long.
Yeah.
I want to do a peeling vinyl top. I don't know if that's going to be race legal or not, but I want to do a peeling vinyl top, a faded paint job. I'm looking at doing white with maybe the black stripe around the back end of the car,
Yeah.
and just have all the running gear be the focus of the actual build rather than awesome paint and awesome interior work and all that jazz stuff that I'm definitely not known for. So I want to do a little bit of a Street Freaks that would leave a trail of rust as it ran down
There you
trail.
go. There you go.
So people know he's in there, yeah.
I'll
So
give you a little detail tip too that I see with some of those guys that do that in real life with drag cars.
Uh-huh.
See little screws, sheet metal screws holding the trim. They're just driven through the trim. Windows, so you
To keep
can
them
multiple screws through your trim.
Oh, that's a great idea. I like that. So it doesn't blow off on the track.
Blow off on the track, yeah, because the clips are rusting. So
well, maybe I gotta have like one side of the car is missing some trim. Maybe
do that too. Yeah.
What I really want to do with this though is for the interior. I want to sand down the door panels and then cut them out so they actually have like just the metal frame of the door, not the actual door card on there.
Yeah, I can send you pictures of the door frames bare so that you could mock up the holes and stuff that would be in there. Yeah.
Hey guys, give me just a second. I heard something outside that sounded like a limb falling. I'll be right back. Let me go see if everything's okay. I'll be right back.
It's just a lady on a bicycle with a dog in the basket.
Yeah, he's got some storms coming in down there. That's for sure.
I hope that they're not getting slammed too bad there. I mean, I've been following that on the news, and it's going to be some scary stuff. So hopefully they're doing okay. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys for having me on here. This has been a real blast.
We appreciate it. Like I said, we really want to try and build such a positive, influencing show so that we try and lure people into this hobby, because this hobby has been great to me in my life, and I just think so much of it. So I want to be, very positive in the community. So that's why I try to do whatever I can, like what I just said to you. If you guys want pictures of this dart, that's why I'm so excited about this year's pick, is because I have one that I can give pictures to people. And here you go. Here's some research, work for you, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, when I heard the announcement about what they picked this year, I was what Kim picked this year, I was like, oh, I finally have that one, Okay, awesome. Been wanting to do something with it, and then digging through the bag of parts, finding out I don't have everything. And here's another thing. This community is so damned awesome, as I just make a slight comment in the video saying, yeah, I'm just using this bag of parts that I got,
Yeah.
Comment after comment. I have that kit. I have a third one. You're welcome to whatever you need. Reach out to me. There's like 3 guys out there that I have like on speed dial. I'm like, yeah, I need a bumper, So it's just and they're just offering this stuff, because they want to help, and that's just freaking awesome, just to help.
No,
good news. It was a limb that fell, but it didn't hit anything out of the old live oak tree out there, which it sheds its limbs like a cat sheds fur. They fall in the summertime when the wind ain't even blowing. But it didn't hit nothing, so phew, that's good news. All right, sorry about that. The joys of being live, you don't get the luxury of editing all that out and starting over again, right? But we wouldn't have it any other way. We're going to cut our teeth and make it happen. So
I'm trying to remember if my language has been okay on this one. I'll have to read the comments later.
Oh, it's been great. So, yeah.
Oh, listen, we're what's the word I'm looking for? We're forecasting for Mr. Frank Steffens to be in here, and I've already got to tell everybody from Frank's Model Shop. I already got to tell everybody, listen, this is going to be our R-rated version, but we wouldn't have it any other way. We want him to be him, just like we want you to be you. So we're looking forward to getting him in here too. But
for sure.
You guys ready to wrap it up, BG? I know you got a million other things need to be doing. So again, I want to thank you so much for being on. I don't know if you watched the other video. In fact, I do know you did, because we had a laugh about it. I made the comment last week about if this was a church, myself, Jason, and Matt would be the guys in the back playing with the Hot Wheels. Mark would be the preacher, and you, my friend, would be the deacon. I mean that as a compliment for sure. You're somebody that if somebody was to call me and say, hey, you're on a very short list, and if somebody was to call me and say, hey, aliens have landed, they're interested in models, who do you want to send up as your spokesperson? Yourself and a few others would be on that list. So we are very honored to have you. I'm not blowing smoke up your butt, just being honest. We appreciate what you do, how you do it, and can't thank you enough for being on the show.
Well, thank you.
I think he's asking you out on a date, Brian.
I can't listen. I can't ask him out on a date, because I go up there to kiss him, and then I run back down. I go around there to kiss him. I get wore out trying to shimmy up his leg to be able to give him a kiss.
Just wear your heels. You'll be all right.
My Gene Simmons platform shoes.
Yeah, you'll be all right. But no, thank you so much for saying that. That's I'm honored to be here. Thank you for asking me to be on. I'd be back again in a heartbeat. No problem.
But I almost forgot. We got one hardworking guy in the background. Mr. Bruce, if you want to come up on screen, you got anything you'd like to ask or share with Mr. BG? I almost forgot you, bud, and I apologize for that.
That's okay. I forgot. I think I told you the wrong keystrokes for that Vulcan
Oh,
sign.
do I need to amend this?
It's Shift : 2 dots, then VU.
Okay.
I think I told you Control.
Yes.
For those of you that don't know what the heck they're talking about, welcome to the club.
So you can do this. All right, cool.
That's right.
Otherwise,
it's been an honor and a privilege to have you on the show and to talk with you. I'm like everybody else. I'm a big fan.
Well, thank you so much, Bruce. Hey, you didn't get in on that question. What would be your favorite movie car or TV car you'd want as a daily driver?
Batmobile 66 version.
Oh,
man.
Yeah.
That's good job.
You'd be out there chasing around my Riddler mobile.
And I'll have to change mine to Christine and go after you, Bruce.
Oh, yeah. Well, good luck with that. I'll just flip the switch and you'll be dust.
I'm gonna push the back turn button and just do that,
And we're gone.
Right on. Well, it's been a lot of fun, guys. Thank you so much for having me on board. Hopefully your followers and viewers have had a good time too.
So we'll let you start the sign off. Tell us who you are, what your channel is, what you do, and then we'll go around the table.
All right. Well, this is BG from BG Model Workshop. Also with the Scale Model Car podcast, you can find on the Spotify. Go check us out there, please, if you haven't already. Appreciate that very much. And we also host a Facebook page, which is BG Scale Model Workshop on Facebook, and that is the home for all genre model building. So anything from airplanes to cars to sci-fi, you name it, it's welcome on there. And everybody who's part of that page already is very welcoming to new folks that come in there with all sorts of builds and such. So that's a great place to show your wares. But yeah, I also want to say thank you to you guys for having me on here for this evening. It's been a real pleasure, and I'm honored. Thank you. Without getting too blurry-eyed.
Right, Jason, you want to go next?
I'm Jason from KRD, Klein Race Car Designs is the channel. I do mostly models right now, but I'm also big with one-to-one cars and remote control cars. So there'll be more of that on the channel someday. Check it out if you like the content. Give me a like, give me a sub. Mainly come back to this every Thursday night because we really want to try and help give people the inspiration to do this hobby and not get frustrated and just have a great time. There's so many great people in here. Like tonight, we've got BG in here. That's so cool. And I want to thank you for coming on, sir. It's an honor.
Thank you for having me.
Bruce, you're up next, buddy.
And I'm Bruce from Bruce's Eclectic-World. And I want to thank BG once again for being here and all of our fine people in the chat because they've been a very good bunch out here tonight, including Kevin. Congratulations, everybody.
We worry for him sometimes.
We worry about Kevin a lot. He's a great guy. Awesome builder, too, by the way. He got some awesome great stuff. Sure. Very knowledgeable person.
He is a good builder, yeah.
So that's about all I got, folks.
All right, well, thank you, Bruce. I am Mike, the Scale Model Outlaw, and these guys allow me to be on this AMC live cast with them every Thursday. Why, I don't know, but we definitely appreciate the chat. Everybody's chiming in. I saw some names in there that we're really proud to see. When we started this, we wanted it to be something that a positive thing and something that people enjoy. And I feel like we're moving in that direction, and having great hosts or great guests like yourself, BG, is definitely launching us forward. And we appreciate all you guys. But just like always, guys, go check out all these different channels. And as always, be kind to each other, be safe, and keep on modeling.
2 thumbs up, baby.
Give me them big old thumbs up.
Night, everyone.
Bye, y'all.
Good night, everyone.
I'm gonna click the button now.
Click the button.
For
Gotta love live. Gotta love live. I'm gonna click the button now. Do it. Do it. Do it.